My day was not that good today. Hopefully, now that I'm home, it's just better. I feel a lot more energized. But basically, second period smelled really bad because someone decided to leave milk in the class overnight, and it spoiled, of course. And they tried to clean it, tried to, spray some chemicals or whatever in it, and that just made it smell worse. And I was stuck in that class and it smelled so bad. Everybody was by the windows. It was so bad. Not to mention that when I was walking, I had a little blister on my toe, which hurt really bad, by the way. And I got home, took my sock off, and my toe was bleeding. My freaking toe was bleeding. But welcome to my video. I'm Sarah. And today I'm going to be doing a video on a beginner's guide to YA. If you are here and you are a beginner, then hi, I'm Sarah. This is BookTube. The main focus of BookTube, I would say, in my opinion, or at least my channel, is based on YA, which stands for young adult. And so today I'm going to be showing you guys some books that are pretty easy to get into and are quick reads that could really help a reader. Every reader is different in their own way. Everybody reads at a different pace and everybody has their own way of reading. Also in this video, I'm going to be talking about ways that you could read more or ways to finish books quicker. If you are a reader and you kind of read a little bit slower, which was totally me whenever I first started reading, which wasn't that long ago. It was actually 2015, 2016. And yeah, so let's get started. Some ways that you could read quicker is by audiobooks. And I love audiobooks. I love Audible. And my favorite way to read a book is by, getting the book. For example, I am currently reading Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, but I also have it on audiobook. Whenever I'm walking to or from school, then I can just listen to the audiobook, and between classes, I'll listen to it. Whenever I'm bored, I'll listen to it. And whenever I get home, I will, pop this bad baby open and I will read. It's my favorite reading choice on which way to read. And personally, I prefer physical books than ebooks just because I like the feel of books. I feel like if, I see progress in my reading, it'll just motivate me to read more. You don't need Audible or Scribd or any other source where you have to purchase stuff. I know YouTube has a couple audiobooks there, which are totally for free. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways that you can get an audiobook, and you just really have to search around. My favorite audiobook source is Audible, just because I've had it for a long time and I love it. So that's my little advice on how to read more. And now into some books that I would say motivate me to read more because they're just fast reads. So I would say whenever I was first starting reading, I loved contemporary books. They were my favorite genre of books, and I just loved reading. It was really easy for me to get into these books because it's pretty much set in the same world that we are in now. So there's not that much world building. Yeah, so these are a couple contemporaries, and then I'm going to show a couple dystopian fantasy fast reads like that. So the first book is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and this is actually my favorite contemporary of all time. I loved this book. It was a wild adventure of me reading it. I recommend this so much. But basically this follows a character named Emily, whose best friend Sloane just went missing out of nowhere, and she left behind this to-do list, basically, of things that she wants her to do to sort of get out of her comfort zone. All of these lists are completely bizarre. For example, kiss a stranger, which, not to mention that Emily is an introvert, which I can relate to because I'm not a introvert, but I'm not an extrovert. I feel like, I'm pretty sure it's called an ambivert. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming. So with this letter, which was the last thing that Sloane has given her, she believes that if she does these things, it'll somehow lead to Sloane and where she's been. There's a love interest, and I love the love in this book. And I feel like this is a thing with Morgan Matson's books. There's like playlists and stuff, yeah. There's like playlists in here, which is really cool. It was such like a wild ride reading this book. I was always entertaining. There was something leaving me on the edge of my seat, and it was just super fun and a really, really cute read, to be honest. And plus this cover is gorgeous. Like, it's summer vibes, man. Yeah, so that's pretty much it with this book, but I recommend this out of all the contemporaries on this list. So the next book is another Morgan Matson book. Sorry Not Sorry. That book is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. And this follows a girl named Amy, and her father just passed away, and her mother wants to move from California to Connecticut, but Amy needs to finish up school, so she's sort of living on her own. And then while she has to move to Connecticut, she doesn't really want to drive because her dad was in an accident, I think. So a family friend's son named Roger decides to step up to the plate and drive her from California to Connecticut, and they go on this huge detour. It's really cute, and they go to like Yosemite and all these other places, and it's so cute. Like, there's a lot more pictures in this book. Like, there's like receipts and like menus and playlists. It's really, really cool and interesting. It's a wild ride again, and Morgan Matson's books are just so pretty. I can't get over it, man. That's pretty much all I have to say about that, just because it is a contemporary. It is kind of like the same thing as I said before, but it was a really wild ride, and I loved it. It was a fast read. And the last book is a book that I just finished, and this is The Distance Between Us by Casey West, and I enjoyed this book. This isn't my favorite book, but it was a really fast read, and I would say that, you know, had I just started reading, I would say that this would definitely have been on one of my favorites list. It follows a girl named Cayman who runs this porcelain doll shop with her mother, and they are quite poor, and they don't really trust rich people because they're just not trustworthy. But being a fluffy contemporary that it is, a handsome, young, rich dude comes in, and he's looking for a doll for his cousin. Things happen, and what I think was... Wind just blew on my window and it was quite loud, I'm sorry. And I think the thing that really stood out in this book that made it unique was their career days, where they both didn't really want to be doing what they were set up to do, which Cayman was sort of set up to run the porcelain doll shop, and Xander, the oozing rich dude, was sort of brought up to take over this building that he owns. So their career days try to give each other different ideas of what their career can be. Like, for example, whenever it was a career day for Cayman, he took her to one of his buildings and gave her a camera, and he basically wanted to have her try out photography and see if she liked it. There was really cute parts, though I did lack a little bit of pages and the story. It was a really good read, and it was fast and it was quick and it was adorable. So I would definitely recommend this book to a beginning YA reader. Now on to the non-contemporary books. These are more of like urban fantasy and dystopian, those kind of books. Oh, actually sci-fi too. So the first one is widely popular in the YA genre, and that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is part of the Mortal Instruments series. Cassandra Clare is very well known for being a Shadowhunter author. Basically, this series, the Mortal Instruments series, follows a girl named Clary who was brought up in a regular mundane world. Out of the blue, she sees this whole big fight scene go on, and nobody else around her really sees it. And she soon finds out that she's a shadow hunter who is half demon, not half demon, half human, half angel, who protects the mundane world from the demons. So there's a lot of characters, and I just loved how Cassandra Clare wraps up stories. But yeah, so I totally recommend this book. This is one of her first novels, so it definitely isn't the best out of hers, but you definitely have to keep reading to get more into the story. That's what I hear other booktubers say, but when I read this book, I was hooked from the start. And when they said that it gets good, oh my god, it was so much better. Like, City of Heavenly Fire, it was phenomenal and action-packed and amazing. It's just so great, and I would recommend any new reader to read this. I recommend this book to my mother all the time. She doesn't pick it up. She just won't pick it up, guys. Like, what do I do? For the next book, this book is a sci-fi book, and this was one of the quickest reads that I've ever read. I was actually gonna unhaul this book, but luckily I didn't, so I just tried it out. I read a chapter and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I don't know what else I can say without showing it to you. It is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This book is, of course, a retelling of Cinderella, but Cinderella is a cyborg in the streets of New Beijing, where she is a mechanic, and so Prince Kai is the lovely love interest. But it is not just a love story, it's kind of political based, in my opinion. The people who live on Earth are all trying to, you know, stay civil with the people that live on the moon, who are called Lunars, and they are very powerful people. If they wanted to, could come down to the Earth and destroy it all and take over. And I want to finish the Lunar Chronicles this year. I feel like this is the year of me finishing series. I recommend the Lunar Chronicles. I hear the books just get better and better as you go on, and the books are also different stories too. So this one is of Cinderella, and the second one is Red Riding Hood, which also has Cinderella's story in that, so it's a new perspective. The third book will be Rapunzel with the other two perspectives. So, and the fourth book will be Winter, which is based off Snow White, I'm pretty sure. It's just a well-loved book. And I saved the best for last, because if you've been watching my channel, which I only have a couple videos out, but if you've been watching my channel, you would know that this is my favorite series of all time, hands down. This was one of the first books that I have read, and I fell in love with it from the start, and that is Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. Speaking of the Shatter Me series, Defy Me comes out literally in 6 days. I will be there the moment it opens. Maybe not, because I'll be in school, but right after school I'll be there. So this book is a dystopian novel, which there's a lot of dystopian novels out, but I think this is my favorite. And I actually have a soft spot for dystopian novels. A lot of people are just like, dystopian is overrated. I don't think they are. I like them, and I think that they kind of deserve the hype. But yeah, so this is a dystopian novel, and it follows a girl whose touch can kill you, or basically when she touches you, she takes your life, she gains power, and you will eventually die. It starts off with her in this asylum where she is very vulnerable and she doesn't know how to control her powers. She gets a cellmate. They go to the reestablishment, and she finds out the reestablishment wants to use her as a weapon, and she kind of doesn't want to be used as a weapon. Well, with how much that I love this book, I really need to learn how to talk about what it is about. Basically, she doesn't want to be used as a weapon, and she has plans of her own. There's a lot of characters in this novel that I love, and there's a couple characters that I'm not a big fan of. And mainly what I love about this trilogy and slash series, because I read it and I finished it when it was a trilogy, is that she has so much growth, and she learns self-love. And that's what I love about this series, is that, you know, she discovers who she is within the series, and there's a love triangle in it, which not my favorite, but I love who she's with now. But yeah, I can't wait for Defy Me. I just can't wait for Defy Me. Yeah. So that was my video, and I hope you enjoyed this guide to some books. I might do one in the future, an updated one, but this is the one that I have for now. And all my social media is down below. It is The Ignited Reader for all of them. If you like my videos, please subscribe and leave some comments down below on some videos that you would like to see from me. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!